1980 Mercedes SLC 450. So that is your R107 shape Mercedes SL. But obviously the C stands for coupe, because these, as you'll notice, are a fixed head coupe as opposed to your convertible. 450 for the 4.5 litre V8. We'll start by having a good look at the bodywork, then we'll move on to the interior and we'll go for a cold engine startup. Driver's front wing, it's nice and straight all the way down the side there. It's not full of rust inside the arch, it's nice and tidy, it's sharp all the way around. It's on the original spec hubcaps with the painted centres, and I believe we're on Pirelli matching tyres all the way around, but we'll check as we go. Top of the wing and across the bonnet, there's a little bit of sort of, you'd almost call it osmosis in the lacquer there. There's sort of tiny little bubbles there, you can just see that. It's quite hard to pick it up on the camera, but it is there, it's on the bonnet as well. You have to get right on top of it to see it, but it is there, like I say. Coming down this side, all the rubber trim is nice and neat. Lower half's good, as is that sill all the way along. Quite often you find a lot of rot on the bottom of the doors on these ones, whereas that one looks to be nice. Rest of the driver's door is all good. Up the A-pillar, nice and neat. There's no major stone chips or anything on the leading edge. And around the sunroof, looks to be tidy. There's a little bit of paint flake at the back there. And there was a couple of, there are actually bubbles under the paint. You can sort of feel them. They've got a little bit of movement in them, sort of 7 or 8 of them around the roof. It's almost like I would think it's had a sort of paint job, where it's normally what happens when the lacquer's not, the primer's not quite dry underneath, isn't it? And again, we've got that sort of bubbling under the lacquer on the other side, but we'll have a look at that when we get around there. Glass on this side's nice and clear. The chrome work has the odd little mark on it, but generally pretty good. And down that pillar, again, all nice and tidy. Rear quarter, we've got a tiny little bubble just appearing where this bit of trim mounts in there. Obviously a hole in the bodywork behind there for the clip to go through, so that's sort of where it tends to start. Inside the arch is sharp all the way around. Again, there's no bubbling coming through on that. Another good wheel and tyre. We aren't on a Pirelli on that one. We'll just keep checking them as we go. A little bit more bubbling just down there. Again, another common spot where that bumper bracket is. And then round on the back, bumper itself sits nice and level. Tail lights are bright and clear. Same little bubbles in the paint on the boot lid itself, and there is a bit of paint flake just there where it reaches the window. No corrosion coming through around the seal on the rear window, which can be a bit of a common area, but that one's all good on this one. And there is a tiny bit of delamination on the window itself. Round on the passenger side, nice and straight all the way down there. Rear valance on the back is all good. Arch itself, again, sharp all the way around. Another good wheel and tyre. I think I was just totally lying to you about Pirellis all the way around. We've got, what are they? Evergreens on the back and Pirellis on the front. So we're matching across the axles, so at least that's there. We've got a little bit of a scratch there, but actually that feels like it's sitting on top of the paint. That feels, yeah, that'll just come straight off. That'll clean off. Ignore that. A-pillar on the back, nice and tidy. Rear quarter, got nice and neat along that sill. See, it's not hanging off or rotten or anything like that. A couple of little blebs at the bottom of the door there. Another one there. The rest of the door, all nice and tidy. Along the tops here are good. Up onto the roof on this side. And again, we've got those same bubbles like we mentioned on the other side. And there is a bit of paint flake here on the sunroof itself. And we've got that sort of osmosis in the paint there as well. Chrome work on this side, same as the other side. Odd little scratch here and there, but generally pretty good. Chrome work on the wing mirror is good. Along the bottom of the windscreen is nice and neat, so none of the scary structural bits have got any rust coming through it that you can see. And then front wing, again, sharp all the way around, nice and neat behind the bumper there and on the lower valance. Another good wheel and tyre. The trims are very good on this all the way around. Up onto the bonnet, we've got, always seems to go in, there was 2 places on these. On the bonnet itself, and then another little bit down the front there. Front bumper sits nice and level. All the headlamps and indicators and stuff are crack free and clear. And like I mentioned earlier on, there is that sort of osmosis style stuff in the bonnet itself. Moving on to the interior, a lot of SLCs had velour instead of leather, which I personally quite like. Nice and neat on the door card. Little bit of wear on the bolster there, but other than that, all good. It's going to look dirty on the camera, but if you get close, you can see it is nice and tidy. It's just the way the light hits them. Back of the seat's good. I've got a sort of vinyl or MB-Tex back, which is nice and tidy. And then the rear bench seat looks like it hasn't had much use at all. Very, very good. Headlighting is all good around the sunroof, nice and neat. Steering wheel, very little signs of any wear on there. 70,253 miles, so for one of these nice and low. If it was on 150, you wouldn't be surprised at all. On the top of the dash is all good, as is the center console. Go into the boot. Got your jack still there, the carpets are all nice and tidy. Lower down, that's all good. We want to have a look under here and feel for any rust, because that can be quite a common area, but this one feels to be all good. And the underside of the boot lid, apart from a bit of a condensation, we've managed to go from -4 yesterday in here to 11 degrees today, so it's like a tropical jungle in here today. Lovely and neat on the door card on the passenger side, and nothing really to complain about on that passenger seat either. Again, like I say, they do look quite dirty, but when you get nice and close, you can see it's all good in there. Carpet set's nice and neat. This side of the dash is good. Pull the bonnet while we're here. And the 450 is that 4.5 litre, actually a Y formation V8. Nice engine. Could do with a good clean, but relatively, completely standard looking from what I can tell. Standard air clear, all that sort of stuff. Bottles and things all look nice and neat. Front panel's good, all the plaques are where they should be. We'll get it fired up. It's driven to us, this one as well, and like I say, it's always a cold start. It's been moved off that studio from the photos to here, and that's it. So it's done 10 feet this morning. Fires up on the button. Oil pressure straight up to where you want it to be. It's even got half a tank of fuel in there. Nothing nasty coming out the back. They're ticking over nice and happy around the front. So there you have it, 1980 450 SLC. If you've got any more questions, please get in touch. Thank you.